And below the heavens,
Super chat.
dropped 2 and said, what would you do to slow down our offense? I'm not giving that away. No, I'm just playing. I'd probably have to know what do I have on that side of the ball. I don't want to get too far into the Miami breakdown, but that's the one. I tweeted this out last night. Vic Fangio. I know the whole blueprint thing, but Vic in reality though is a really good defensive coordinator, and if you give him a secondary that can compete, I personally do think he can make things tricky. Now they went out and lost last night, so there's that. But nonetheless, I do think you have to have a secondary that can do some complex things on the back end. The problem is, unless you get home, and even if you are getting home, it doesn't really work. Dak is not our young buck. Dak is one of the sharpest quarterbacks pre and post snap. So you just pretty much, you have to be able to be physical with these wide receivers. You have to make Dak, I usually say come off a read 2 or 3, but he does that well too. But you got to make Dak get through all his progressions, and if nothing is there, get home. I don't think there is a perfect or blueprint just yet. And here's why. I can't say, oh yeah, just do what the 49ers did. This ain't the same offense. This is not the same offense. Maybe you do what the 49ers did if the Cowboys are running traditional, old school, West Coast 1-2-3 slant. Mug the wide receivers, get physical at the line, throw off timing and things like that. But that's not what's happening anymore. They're mixing in some of that West Coast stuff with timing routes that are deep, with over routes, with clear outs. Which, okay, you want to mug the wide receiver, fine. My job solely is to play non-hero ball and clear this half of the field open for CeeDee Lamb coming across. So you got to have a combination of a really good secondary and a rush that can get home. And that's why I find this funny below the heavens. I find it's hilarious when people say, well, let's see if Dak Prescott can play well against the Buffalo Bills, the Miami Dolphins, the Philadelphia Eagles, right? This gauntlet of a schedule. To me, he's not playing Josh Allen. He's not playing Tua and Mike McDaniels. He's not playing Ben Johnson and Goff and those boys. He's not playing those guys physically. That's the defense that got to worry about that. So flip it. Are those defenses equipped? So when I see people say, well, Dak's got a what? He's not playing Josh Allen. He's not playing Mike McDaniels. Is your defense equipped to roll with us? No. There's really one, in my opinion, one team that has the front and the depth, the second level, and the third level to make things difficult for 4 quarters, and it's the San Francisco 49ers. It's that simple. They got the dudes. The scheme is not complicated. They got the dudes. Great question. And the remaining of this guy, I just don't think there's many defenses that can. I don't think there's many defenses that can stop the Cowboys, especially if the Cowboys are starting to get their run game, I don't want to say going, but figuring out the distribution of the run game, right? Before it was Tony Pollard, 12, 13 carries, Rico Dowdle, 2. Sunday night, Tony Pollard, 15 carries, Rico Dowdle, 12, or whatever it was for Tony and Rico. Was that close, though, right? You start getting that going a little bit more. Now you're worried about, okay, they are going to legitimately run the ball 25 times within their structure of the offense. They're not trying to be a running team. They're trying to be efficient, and we're trying to distribute the ball in the backfield with more than one person. That's another thing to think about. Oh, by the way, Jake Ferguson. Oh, by the way, CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks and Cavante. So I don't think there is a defense the Cowboys will see the rest of the way on this schedule that can trip them up if the Cowboys are just taking care of the ball and blocking it up well enough. I'm not even saying they got to be a clean game. I've watched Dak Prescott dice up a secondary in the defense where he got sacked 5 times. I'm not saying it got to be a clean game up front. It just has to be blocked up enough. And Dak will lead you. I do. I believe that. Great question, though, below.